Let's make some high-end home decor from the dollar store that doesn't look like you paid $1.25 for all of the materials. Hi, I'm Allie and welcome to my channel. It has been a while since I've done some Dollar Tree DIYs here or even stepped into a Dollar Tree. So I think I came up with some brilliant ideas that you are going to love, and I figured I would also share a couple other high-end dupes that I found on my visit when shopping for these supplies. I want to get right into these DIY projects first because I know that is what you're here for, so let's get started. One of the best high-end items to DIY with at Dollar Tree are their vases and glassware. Particularly, I would say these tall, skinny hurricane vases. Let's get started and transform these into a very modern, fun-looking hurricane votive sort of situation. I'm starting this project out using the Dollar Tree chopping mats. And hey, even Dollar Tree says you should use these for craft projects right here. And I'm cutting these down to be exactly the height of one of the Dollar Tree tumbling tower blocks. Now, the reason I'm using the chopping mats is because these hurricane vases can be hard to come by. This is a very temporary solution so that you can change out the look whenever you want. However, you definitely have the option to make this a permanent look by just using some painter's tape to tape off the same exact area on the actual glass itself. Then what I did was take those tumbling tower blocks and I applied glue around this edge here and then space them out evenly all the way around this little hurricane base that we are forming. And then I also created a second one, and instead of placing the shorter, skinnier side against the base, I placed the longer side against the base to create two different looks just for a little variation. I got my two rings done right here, and I think they're looking very odd. So that means it is time to spray paint. I'm going to first add on a coat of just this beigey color that I had as a nice solid base. It took 2 coats so that I had full coverage, but once that was done, it looked very, very nice. You could leave it here as a solid color of any color of your choice. However, I wanted to go for more of a stone look. So I'm using this stone effect spray paint in bleached stone, and I think this takes this from more of a modern, streamlined type of piece to something that's maybe more transitional. It could fit in a farmhouse space. It could fit in a boho style space. It's super versatile, so that is the reason why I wanted to go with something more textural and in more of a neutral color palette as well. Now, finding high-end home decor at Dollar Tree is easier than you may think. They actually have quite a bit if you know what to look for. So let's start in the picture frame aisle. I feel like this is a pretty obvious tip. I promise I get some cooler finds toward the end, but I love the Dollar Tree picture frames. I find that sometimes they get in some incredibly unique ones. I really liked this combination of frames right here. The gold really bring in a boho look. This set of frames here really reads modern farmhouse, and they look fantastic together. Would make a wonderful looking gallery wall or picture ledge. Then this set of frames I just thought were so much fun. I love the bold colors, the gold edge. Now I happened to pick up these 2 gold frames. I just couldn't pass them up. So this is how I decided to style them in my home. Now, another great area to look at is the dinnerware and plates and glassware aisle. I started with the plates, and I've noticed this black and white bowl. This is something I haven't seen before, but it looks so high-end. So I stacked it using a black plate, then a white saucer, and then put that bowl on top, and this makes a gorgeous table setting. Then I did find the black saucers were in stock. I didn't see them right away, so I tried that layering as well. And also, if you're lucky and you're at Dollar Tree, if you can get a hold of the clear glass dinner set, those retail for so much money at a high-end store, and they're high quality. Now, one thing I also love to look at is the glasses. I thought these two stemless wine glasses were such high quality. If I didn't need a set of stemless wine glasses, I definitely would have picked these up, but I did make sure to pick up another one of these. I mentioned these in the last time I did this kind of Dollar Tree high-end decor dupes or finds style video. I only had one, so now I finally have a set of two, and I'm very excited about that. Now let's talk about the craft section, because this leads into my next project, and Dollar Tree has totally up-leveled their craft section, starting with their fabric. Now, I've always liked to dig through their little fabric bins, but I have never found fabric with this type of high-end looking material, patterns, and designs that I might have went a little overboard and I picked up 5. I almost got like 8, and then I was just like, I need to scale back a little bit. But I just loved how these two paired together as well as these paired together, and then you just never go wrong with a nice neutral kind of linen style fabric. I can't wait to use these for some upcoming projects. You will see those featured soon. Now, another thing you may know about in the craft section that is new is the wood, the raw wood kind of material. I didn't pick up any of that this time, but I was really impressed to see that they're bringing in these nice scrap wood pieces, because I think that could really elevate a DIY project. And the next item that I'm going to be DIYing with from the craft section, transforming into something high-end, are the Dollar Tree canvases. So I'm gonna hand you over to the DIY. I'd actually filmed this on a second day, which future Allie will explain to you. Now, this next project we're going to do is going to require a whole lot of canvases. Now, I have a little story to share with you about this, and that is I went to Dollar Tree to buy these 8x10-inch canvases, the canvases that Dollar Tree sells, and there was maybe 1 canvas left in the entire store. Let me know in the comments if you also have this same problem where whenever you go to Dollar Tree looking for a specific item that they have on all of your other visits when you're not looking for it, and it's sold out. That happens to me way more than I wish it did. So I had to improvise, and I picked up this 10-pack of 8x10 canvases from Michaels. These canvases are actually the exact same price that you would pay if you went to Dollar Tree, and they're a little bit of a nicer quality as well if you're doing an art piece with them. This project's also going to require a little bit more surface area, I think, than this table, so let me switch scenes real quick. That's gonna make this project a lot easier. So the reason we're on the floor is because I have a vision of using 9 canvases to create one large canvas. So I needed some room to spread out. I just think it's gonna add a little extra something that just a plain canvas wouldn't have. To create the initial design onto the blank canvases, I'm using a lid to one of my pans. However, you could use any sort of large circle. I added all of the quarter circles first and then used my ruler to draw the straight lines. This is the pattern that I was trying to create if you do want to duplicate this for yourself. For this project, I decided to go with a beigey peach color. I thought this would be really pretty. You could do whatever color you wanted. And I went and I painted all of the areas that would be basically not where the shapes that I drew were on the canvases. And I typically skip over the painting portion here, but I felt like this time lapse was super satisfying. Now, in the areas left blank, I'm going to use a combination of white chalk paint and spackle. You can use any sort of white paint. I'm using chalk paint because it's a large container, so I'd have a lot to use. And then I'm using a palette knife to apply that spackle paint mixture onto the canvas in those empty areas. I also try to move the palette knife in the direction of these different shapes, so the curved pieces had some curved strokes, the vertical ones had vertical strokes, of course, and the horizontal had horizontal strokes, and I really love the texture that adding a little bit of the spackle gives. Once all of that was dry, I'm then using my staple gun and stapling all of the canvas pieces together to form one mega canvas. And for a little extra security, I did decide to add in some E6000 glue in each of the crevices. That's gonna hold it all together after it dries. And finally, on those peachy areas, I went over it with a satin poly coat. I think this just adds a nice little sheen to contrast with the matte of the white textured areas. Some more high-end DIY finds that we have to talk about are in the decor section, which is not very surprising, but there are a number of things that you should look for, starting with the candle section. Now this time my Dollar Tree was very picked over, but sometimes you can find some incredible candle finds, like cute little votives. However, I was able to pick up this set of incense matches. Whether or not you use matches to light your candles, I think this would make just a lovely tray decor styling piece. I removed the labels and I styled them in the tray like this, and I really love that look. Another thing to look for in that section next to the frames were these mirrors. This is a new item that I haven't seen in Dollar Tree yet. I thought these mirrors were excellent. They'd be great for DIYing. They're a little small, but it shows on the box there, kind of a cluster of them all on a wall. I think that could be a really cool effect, especially if you like a more modern look. Now we're to a find that I could not believe I found at Dollar Tree. Something about Dollar Tree is they sometimes get in kind of one-off items, and that is something that you should definitely look for. This time around on my visit, I found these two amber glass soap dispensers. They are real glass. Well, that wasn't what I intended. I think they're a little bit of a result of, 2 years ago, and they just never sold because of the messaging on them. But I think I should be able to find a way to either remove this or cover it up. So that's gonna be my next really quick and easy DIY Dollar Tree hack to make these gorgeous amber glass bottles that are super high quality look even more expensive. I sort of have two plans of action for trying to remove these, a plan A and a plan B. Plan A would be that these come off completely using acetone. I have gloves on to protect my nail polish. I really don't want that to be removed. So I'm gonna try removing this with acetone, and let's see if that works. I kind of am hopeful it does, but if not, I do have another idea. So the acetone's definitely not working, and I'm afraid to keep trying it. Obviously a solution would be you could just put them backwards, you'd never know. But I do want to cover this up and make it look a little more high-end. So that's going to require some specialized tools. And that tool is a Cricut. Now, if you don't have a Cricut, don't click away. There's other options. You could buy waterproof labels off of Etsy. You could also just buy the Cricut vinyl and cut it down into a little square, stick it on, and then go in with a marker or perhaps other stickers or something like that just to cover up the label. Even like a cute little chalkboard label would be nice. So I designed up these cute little labels in Cricut Design Space. I'll make those available in the description box, as well as some alternate options if you don't have a Cricut. And I'm gonna cut those out and add them to the front of the bottles to give them an entirely new look. Next, I want to talk the kitchen section. I do think there's quite a few really nice finds you can find in the kitchen section as kitchen tools to use. I also really love the wood or bamboo, I guess, utensils. These will look gorgeous styled in a crock on a counter. I've never tried using them, so if you've used them before, let me know in the comments if they're actually worth purchasing. And finally, I wanted to talk about a unique Dollar Tree item that I definitely wanted to DIY based on some trends that I have been seeing, and that is from the off office section, and it's a magnifying glass. Now, I saw Fia Garcia use this magnifying glass in part of her kind of recommendation video. Love it just as it is, but I thought let's add a little DIY flair to it and give it a little bit more of a high-end faux brass makeover, because if you know me, you know I love faux brass decor. So let's go transform this little magnifying glass. So here's the magnifying glass, and now everything is all magnified. Woo! Okay, so as great as this is, and I think it's actually already a fairly nice piece, the matte black plastic does look decent, actually. I do think the handle is a little short. I think it could be a little bit more decorative. So let's make this look a little fancier. I felt like the handle on the magnifying glass was a little short, so I used some hot glue and a wood bead, and I attached that on the end. I purposely used an excess of hot glue, 1 to hold the bead on, and 2 to add a little bit more of a decorative touch. And then I painted over that bead with some matte black paint. But at that point, I realized I think it needed an additional bead, so I used some more hot glue and attached another bead on the end, and then also painted that black. For the next step, I did want to tape off the magnifying glass first with some painter's tape just to protect the glass portion. And then I'm using one of my favorite products to make things a faux brass finish, and it's Rub and Buff in antique gold. And I just applied that on with a foam brush over the entire magnifying glass, and that completes this really simple DIY, but I think it looks so much more elevated now. If you want even more Dollar Tree home decor recommendations, I suggest you check out this video right here. It's basically the part 1 to this one. And if you want to watch something else, then this video right here is just for you. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.